Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of the Wrestle Report. My name's Stephen Fairbairn, here as always. This week I've got 3 new guests, 3 local wrestlers I haven't had on before, and I'm very, very, very happy to have them here. First and foremost, we've got Mr. Thomas Blood.
Hello.
Mr. Serious Jim Wilson.
Hello.
And Mr. Harry Bragg.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on, lads. Just before we get started, if you don't mind, I'd just like to give a quick word to our sponsors. We've got Valves and Vibes Motors and Campers, which do custom Land Rover Defenders with folding tent roofs. New business, very exciting. Check them out on Facebook, worth a look, maybe pass them some business. We are also sponsored by Insane Competitions, which is a pay-to-play and a competition site. Might win some prizes. There's plenty of giveaways on there, lots of freebies. Check them out on Facebook, definitely worth your time. Right, so moving on. Thank you for coming on, lads. I know some of you are a little bit nervous about coming on. The work you do for a living, I can't believe you are nervous, but thanks for coming on anyway. So first and foremost, if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to go along the line. Just tell us a bit about yourselves. Thomas, I'll start with you. Tell us a bit about yourself. How long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling for, I think, just past the 4-year mark. I think it was
Sounds about
October
right.
2021.
Fantastic.
So I had a kind of odd introduction to it. I mean, obviously, wrestling fan for years. And as life kind of progressed, never got into it physically. And then I had kids and family and all that sort of stuff. And then COVID happened, and then everything started opening up, and my kids had not been able to do football and all the other activities they did. And my youngest was a massive wrestling fan.
Love it.
And I just had a thought one day, like, I wonder if I learn to wrestle.
Yeah.
And so I just Googled it, and I found a club.
Right.
And I sent my son along to an open day, and he loved it. And so I would take him every week, and I'd go and sit and watch him with the other juniors doing all these rolls and bumps and stuff like that. And I just thought, if I was like 20 years younger.
Fantastic.
And I would see the adults come in, and then they would start training. And then just one day I just went up to Big Chris, who runs the club, and I just said, do you have like an age limit?
Well, I get your logic though, because I would be the same
at the time.
Right.
Over 40 is not allowed.
Yeah, and he said, no, but it does hurt.
Yeah.
Well, so, he said, come along to the open day and give it a go. And I met these 2 reprobates.
I love that though.
Were you all on the same open day?
Yeah.
Same open day.
I love that you did that though, because I mean, like you say, obviously you're saying you're 41 when you started. I'm 46 as of last week. So, and I've always said, a bucket list thing for me is I'd love to take a bump, just one bump. Ryan Rude's offered to put us through a table, so that'll probably happen at some point. I love him, but God, I can only imagine how much that'll hurt. But no, I mean, I get it, because obviously I've seen his work, and truthfully, I didn't think you were anything close to the same age as me, so take that compliment. But no, it's one of those things where obviously I've seen you all work. Truthfully, I don't think I have seen you work, but I have seen both of you work.
I do.
I know, no. I've seen stuff online, but I haven't in person. Sorry, let me rephrase that. But no, it was one of those things where, I mean, it's funny. I know it's not the same thing, but I'm getting into announcing, as you know, at a very, very later age in terms of a lifelong love of wrestling. So I understand it, but I love that you just went along and just thought, why not give it a shot? You know what I mean? And you're damn good as well. Like I say, I have to say, pay a compliment.
It just happened at the right time in my life. I think had I tried it 20 years ago, because I was getting married, having kids, I don't know if I'd have had.
I think your mentality would have been different back then as well.
Focus on my career and everything. And I think as my family are older now, require less.
This is it.
Less,
yeah.
I can focus more on going to the gym, on my own sort of health, and being able to invest time.
I love that.
It is a lot of time.
Yeah.
My wife, when I first started, she used to class herself as like a wrestling widow, because I was training every Saturday, every Sunday, going to the gym all through the week.
And then what happened, Steve?
Well, yeah.
Well, it's funny, because leading into a future episode, just quickly before I move to yourself, I'm actually having him and his whole family on as a future episode. Because
mention that she went from being a wrestling widow to being a wrestler.
Yeah, so
I love that though.
This is,
you want to see me?
4'11" and 3/4.
Oh, she's great though.
Little tiny tank.
I love that. Respectfully, I love it. But no,
pint-sized powerhouse.
Do you know?
No, she had no interest in wrestling. I thought it was weird.
Right.
I was weird for liking wrestling. I thought the whole business was weird.
Not wrong.
But her husband and kids were into it, so she kind of tolerated it. And then I think one day she was asked if she'd be interested in doing charity, like being trained up for a charity
Right,
match.
right, okay.
And she kind of got strong armed into it, and like, go on then, yeah, it'll be fun. Jim's wife also partook, and I think they assumed it'd be one and done. That one match, and for most of them it was.
Right.
And Louise and like Chris had said, so you done, Louise? And
She caught the bug
and
straight
that was
away.
like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's still
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I had mentioned, obviously, I had seen videos on, I think it was on TikTok, of her cutting a promo on Scarlett, who I had announced at a previous show, and I loved that. I thought it was fantastic, because I think you were on holiday when she did it, wasn't it? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was wonderful, and I saw it, I was like, yeah, she's definitely into this, and you could tell, and I just think that's so great that you do it as a family. I can't wait to have you all on, honestly, I really can't, because I know you suggested it a little while ago, and it was one of those things, obviously, trying to get things together. Anybody that's seen the video I uploaded the other day, I have a baby due imminently, which is the family issues we've been having, so apologies. But we will be uploading a lot more content when she's here.
All on standby right now.
Oh, yes, yeah, we're all on standby, yes, exactly. But no, I love that, thank you very much. Jim, yourself, same question?
Yeah, very similar answer, to be honest. Like, we've all been training for exactly the same length of time. We attended the same open day.
Some of us more or less intensively.
As I remember how we got started, it was after a day in the pub with me and Dave and our partners. Like, again, always been wrestling fans as kids, like doing all that, playing computer games, jumping off garage roofs and that when we were little. And then, like,
I love it, exactly like Mick Foley, yeah.
And then we're in the pub. We got talking about, like, what, if we were wrestlers, what our gimmicks would be and who would win if we had a tag match.
Love it.
And then we just started Googling, like, let's find out at wrestling schools. And looked, oh, Dave, there's a class, like, next Saturday. So we both went down. Again, had, like, no expectation that anything was going to happen. We just wanted to go in, run the ropes. This will be fun. This will be good for a laugh.
Yeah.
And it was.
You're all great at it, I have to say. I love the fact that do you know what, I'm not going to lie, right? Obviously, I'm a little bit, I'm behind on the local scene in terms of I'm trying to get back into it, hence the reason I'm doing this, because I was into it massively years ago. We mentioned it earlier off camera, WCPW and Defiant. I was huge. I used to attend every show. You know what I mean? I was at everything. I knew a lot of the guys. How I know a lot of the people, to be honest, because I used to attend and they remembered me, which I was, grateful for. But I mean, in terms of actually getting into it, to hear that you've all done this for what is considered, to be fair, a relatively short period of time, and to see the level you work at, because my little one, she absolutely loved watching you. She was well into it. To the point she thought you were quite scary and you were lovely. Until I came and introduced her after the show. But no, it was just, she was so into it, and I don't know if you heard her, but she was very, very vocal. She's only 9, so she was very, very vocal. She's mad about Cody Rhodes, and she was like, she compared you all to that, and I was just like, you know what I mean? It is, exactly. She's, but honestly, you've got no idea. This is the thing I love of the fact that you are able to get kids involved in that, you know what I mean? Because I think as well as there's a certain thing with wrestling, especially, with younger kids, it's very much tailored to boys, or at least that's the perception. And I don't want that. I've got all girls. You know what I mean? And it's a case of, I love that you can do that and get kids involved, and I think it's fantastic. And the fact that you do it with your family and you've done it with your missus as well is insane. Because my missus, if I asked her, she'd lay me out with a real punch, never mind a word punch. You know what I mean? There would be none of that. But no, I mean, just quickly before I move to yourself, do you still get the same level of enjoyment you had from it, or do you love it more now than you had, when you were just a fan? What I mean, rather than being a worker, or has it changed your perception?
I think it's different for me watching wrestling now. I don't know if you feel the same, but you're sort of watching it less. There's less suspension of disbelief. I don't know, less critical.
You definitely watch it as a worker rather than as a fan.
Oh, you can see they're setting up for that spot. You can see
you're looking for spots, and particularly if you're watching not so much televised, but if you're at a local show and you're spotting stuff, and you see like, they're talking to each other there.
They're into the heat.
They're setting up for that. Yeah, they're into the heat. They're come back now.
You hear the spot calling and things like that. Do you find yourself doing that, Dave?
That's not very believable. I'm sure I could do that now.
It's funny, because I've been a wrestling fan for probably as long as all of you have, 40 years and counting, probably longer. It's one of those things where, because I don't consider myself a normal wrestling fan, in the sense I don't just watch it as a fan. I watch it even though I'm not a worker, I watch it. I think like yourselves, in that I'll call, oh, I know what's going to happen here because I know the setups and this, because I've bothered to learn it. I couldn't do it. I'm not going to lie, and I would never hold my hand up and say I'm anything close to any of you guys or anybody who does this. It's why I'm so in awe of wrestlers, because I think it is so spectacular that you can go out there live and do it. I was on Nova Radio yesterday and a couple of weeks ago as well, and I had basically spent the whole time defending pro wrestling because of the fact that, and not that she was being antagonistic or anything, but she asked me the perception of it, and I was like, the perception of it to me always irritates me because people go, oh, you like wrestling. It's like today I got a taxi over here today, and the taxi driver asked me, oh, what you doing? I was like, oh, podcasting. What about wrestling? And he went, huh. And I straight away, and I thought, you haven't got a clue. You know what I mean? It's
films.
Well, that's it. That's why you almost want to turn around and go, you do realise that Superman doesn't really fly. You know what I mean? This is the thing.
I don't know. I often find like people say they might say, oh, it's fake, but then 20 minutes later, you're still having a conversation about wrestling with them. Like people are still enthused. Oh, yeah, wrestling's daft. Used to love it when I was a kid. Yeah. And then
but they remember everything.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I said to the lady on the radio, Susan on the radio on Nova yesterday. She got on about that, and she went, "So what's the perception?" I said, "Well, I tell you now, no matter what the genre of entertainment or this, that, and the other, I guarantee 99% of people know what wrestling is and can name you at least one wrestler. You know, and that's the thing, and that is a fact, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just a fact, and I love, like I say, I mean, I know I come across as a bit of a fanboy, and I don't mean to, but I am in awe. I'll tell you quickly before I move to yourself, Harry. I'll just quickly tell this story. When I first met Ryan Roode, I'd been a fan of Ryan for a while. I'd seen him wrestle quite a bit, and I was on a radio show that I used to do with Wayne, Spanish Announce Table for Nova Radio, and he had said he had arranged an interview with Ryan to come on, and I wouldn't talk to him. I walked into the room and I went, all right, I was just like, hiya, grown man. He's like, I'm older than him, for God's sake, you know what I mean? And I walked in and he latched onto that straight away. He's like, oh, he's not wanting to talk to us, you know? And yeah, it was really bad. And I know, I don't get like that now, by the way. I'd like to think I'm not like that with any of you either, hopefully. But literally, honestly, you should have seen me. I was like a little girl. I just went, hiya. You know what I mean? I was like, I like you. But no, anyway, on that note, let's move on. Harry, say a question. Tell us about yourself.
First time I met Ryan Roode, balls ended up in my mouth.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
Oh. He went for a cheeky, what's she called? Big muscle mummy?
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley went for a Rhea Ripley pin where he just like fully sat on his.
Oh God!
You met him though before he tried to pin you.
Oh yeah, like
that would be one hell of an introduction, isn't it?
I remember this match. It was our second ever match for MPW in the Wrestling Anarchy Inc. And like again, it's like one of the first times me and Harry been out there wrestling. We're meeting new wrestlers, and you meet Ryan Roode. Oh, they're really good. Oh, they like us and that. And talking through the match, and like Ryan's going to us, no, you break character. No, I'll be fine. And then he gets Dave on the flame, sits on Dave's face, and starts talking about the weight of his balls, and like I just broke straight away.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
So he took it as a challenge. I'm gonna make him break.
Fantastic! I love that. I love that. I see that the fact that you said no, you should have just said yes. You know what I mean? And he left you alone.
No, right, I'm a pro.
And then... I love it. I mean, just obviously in terms of yourself, you said you started training with these guys. Yeah. Do you have you wrestled each other a lot, or?
Yeah, we were a tag team for a while, and then we had a program that it didn't quite finish, where we had a little feud after our tag team.
Did you do a proper like split and everything as well, like an angle with a split? Did you? Right,
all his denim and everything.
Fantastic. I love that.
We had a feud when me and Jim were a tag team against the Bloods.
It was me and my son. So
really?
We wrestled. I mean, there's been a lot of variations of the Bloods as a tag team. So I've tagged with my son. I've tagged with a guy called Brennan at MEW, where we called the Blood Brothers.
Awesome.
And then I think I might have tagged William and been called the Bloods as well. Anyway,
fantastic.
So I was tagging with Louise, yes. So I've tagged with my son twice, and when you guys were tag champions, lost both times.
Can I ask you though, is that not an amazing feeling to know he's your boy, and you know what I mean? Yeah, that's got to be. Because the thing is, I know Well, my girls, it's never going to happen. You know what I mean? I mean, my eldest would probably, my middle child would probably do that in a heartbeat. But she just come in and forget that it's, predetermined and just start smacking people or something. But you met her; she's tiny. She's not going to do any real damage. But no, I mean, that's my point exactly. Though the fact that I was saying previously about the kid element of it, and I know there are shows that are very much tailored to 18 plus. And it's one of those things. Like I'm hoping to have Tim Strange on at some point. Now I know he does a lot of deathmatch work.
Yeah.
Now that's my point exactly. Although the one thing I will say with Tim is I know he does a lot of the deathmatch stuff and a lot of the more. He has done matches where at family shows. I mean, they're not too prevalent. You know what I mean? But he's one of those. Well, that's exactly as you say.
You know where Tim?
Just wait.
He asked us at the last show I saw him. He's like, when am I having you, Mr. Bragg?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm too scared.
Well, he was in America recently, wasn't he? He was in working for CCW. With, well, that's it. He was in exactly, which is Nick Gage's promotion, isn't it? Well, Nick Gage works for that promotion. Yeah. And it's the fact that you were saying before we came to camera and that like people are reaching a certain level and this, that, and the other. Wrestlers, I think it's very easy if you've got the time and the ability to go. You can go to promotions quite far afield. And I love that, and I think that the accessibility of that is fantastic. But sorry, my iPad keeps closing on me. I'm gonna have to change that. But I mean, in terms of just going on from what we've been saying, have you worked shows recently? What was the most recent show you've all worked?
Last show was the FTW one. Was it Summertime Brawl?
So we worked at that MPW show you saw us at 2 weeks ago, and then before that was the Summertime Brawl one in at end of August.
Right.
So those were the most recent for us, I guess.
Yeah, I think that because I wasn't working last week. I haven't been working this weekend, so it was last weekend. Oh, it's wrestling.
I don't know if you were.
No, I was in Manchester.
You was in Manchester.
Yeah, it was the weekend before.
Better tell you what I was doing yesterday.
Were you there?
Did we have a last weekend? Yeah, what was that?
No, it was MPW.
Right.
MPW, that was it. Working Bigs. Time before that was.
Oh, you did a Washington show, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I did. I
And so
had
did you.
shows that weekend.
Right.
MEW. FTW.
Yeah, that was.
So in terms of something, obviously, this I'm relatively new to this again in terms of new returnee, as it were. In terms of actually getting bookings, do the promoters tend to reach out to you, or do you follow up with promoters yourself, or is that something that does it? Right.
Sometimes, I've reached out to promoters a few times,
right?
But most of my bookings have come from.
Good. Right. That's got to feel good though, because is that I take it that's the same with yourselves as well.
Mostly I rely on other wrestlers.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if whatever works is if you've got a business model at the end of the day, whatever works. But no, I mean, it's just because obviously with me getting yourselves on here, I've reached out to all of you through. To be fair, through yourself more than anything.
That's how a lot of stuff works for us.
There's a lot of other wrestlers recommend. That's how we ended up on Union.
Yeah, it was through.
Right.
You're really good at bringing people along with you. Because like you get booked places and then you bring people with you.
Well, I will give them some credit here. This idea for this show today to have all three of you on. Not that I wouldn't have had you on incidentally. I'd just like to point that one out. Was actually. I was just going to have him. No,
that would have been boring, man.
But no, it was he's actually given me my next two shows. Thomas has actually given me my next two shows because there's this one, and then my next show is going to be hopefully Thomas and his family, which is going to be fantastic, But no, he had said, "Oh, well, you should have," and he mentioned you two, and I was just like, "All right," because you started training together, which is why I started with the segment I started on because he'd come up with this, and I was like, "That's a great idea," because I didn't just want what I don't want to fall into in terms of this is I don't just want to come on and go talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets really boring. It gets, I'd rather we go through some things, talk about, the modern product in terms of your exposure to it, if there is indeed any, which I will come to. But no, I like the idea of just having you on, shooting the shit a bit, you know what I mean? Just a bit catch up and a bit crack on in terms of how it works. And that's, I find, in terms of the format I've been doing, it seems to work. I mean, anybody who watched the third episode will tell you the way I did it last time was terrible. Getting them all one at a time, that'll never happen again. This is the way I like it. I think coming in here, you know, I'm blessed to be able to have access to a pretty decent studio. Thank you to me sponsor, Vibes and Vibes. It's my friend's studio. He's allowed us to be able to have this format, you know, and I think that's great. But I mean, just right, moving on, now that I've fanboyed on yous enough, in terms of the modern product, in terms of, when I say the modern product, what I mean is like WWE, AEW, do you have much exposure to it? As I know you were saying earlier, as a worker, it's probably a bit more difficult to watch, but do you have much in the way of
Still
exposure?
waiting for my invite to the Bronze Centre.
Hey, you never know. You never. Why
No, I
not?
do
You
know.
never know.
I do know.
The founding of AEW is probably what got me back into
Right.
wrestling. Because I would have been watching with like your Boss Mans and your Stone Colds. And
Right.
Dexter
Well, that's
back
me
in
as
the
well.
day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then there would have been a good 10, 15-year break where I missed like all of Roman Reigns.
Really?
Yeah.
You lucky man.
I didn't watch any John Cena. Like I missed that whole era of wrestling, and I don't know.
Well, those two guys were interchangeable in terms of, and I don't mean in terms of gimmick, but in terms of push. They were interchangeable. You know, one became the other, and unfortunately, at a time, they both got soured on by the fans in exactly the same way because of the fact they were basically, you know, forced upon the ground.
John Cena got me out of wrestling.
See, that's
there's two occurrences when I kind of dropped out of wrestling. So
right.
when I was like 10 and I got into wrestling,
Yeah, yeah.
it was Hulk Hogan,
same.
Warrior,
Yeah,
Bret
yeah, yeah.
Hart, all that. Then it went New Generation, and then there was a tag team came along called Men on a Mission.
I remember them, Mo and Mabel.
And by that point, I was maybe 14 or 15, and they were rapping, coming to the stage, 1, 2, 3.
It was 1994, wasn't it?
Nah, I'm done.
Well, they gave Mabel King of the Ring one year, didn't they?
And then I have actually I've met Sir Mo since then.
Right.
Came to the Northeast.
Did you tell him that he
I didn't tell him
turned you off
it was
wrestling?
him that got me out of wrestling.
I used to be a wrestling fan until I saw you.
Yeah.
Spoiled wrestling.
I loved wrestling till your team came out
Yeah,
wearing purple and gold.
I just turned off.
Hopefully, Bobby Vaughn
Uh, but no, I mean, I get that because I'll back you there in terms of what you're saying, because that period of time where obviously they were trying to carry the company with like some Shawn Diesel, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, and all of that, Razor Ramon, it was comic book. It really was. And Men on a Mission were awful.
that was just the final straw for me. I was like, and I think the age I was as well, and it was getting a lot more cynical.
Yeah.
Then a few years passed, and I started seeing bits and pieces of the early Attitude Era.
Right.
I heard about the cage match with Mankind.
Wow, yeah, Bad Blood.
I
Yeah.
went to university, and I met people at university who were into wrestling. That got me back into
Right.
it, sort of around 1999.
Well, right.
And started watching again just as the Attitude Era was picking up, and that carried me through for years.
I love
and
that.
then when they got to the Ruthless Aggression bit and John Cena came in, and again he started rapping. I think it's something about rapping.
Steve just hates hip hop. Like honestly, he does like a sea shanty.
It's true. Oh, I love sea shanty.
It's not a racial thing. It's just the way the words come out. He doesn't like.
Just hates rhyming. Hates it.
He likes all this music to be prose.
He's not a fan of Dr. Seuss either because he's not into rhyming. No, I get. Do you know though? I get it because. Do you not find that the rapping gimmicks feel really forced and unnatural? They don't come across as genuine, do they? And I know the irony is John Cena was really into his rapping, and it saved his career because he happened to be caught rapping, I believe, on a European tour by Stephanie McMahon. Yeah. And that's,
straight to the top.
there you go, and that was it. It was like that's the guy. You know what I mean? But no, I mean. On that basis, can I just quickly lead in just a slight segue? I want to ask you a quick question, which I hadn't planned on asking you, but I might as well. Do you have a favorite match from like the bigger companies, what you consider the bigger companies? Do you have a favorite match?
Don't know my
What
favorite.
we would consider the bigger companies.
Well, they are, yeah. I've got to be polite about it. You know what I mean? It's.
I don't know if you say it's like you wouldn't say it's like the best match. I always say the match that got me into wrestling was Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam '91
when he won the IC title. Yeah.
Like my older cousins had a VHS of that
Perfect.
event, and like that match, you can go back and watch that show now.
Yeah.
It's a terrible show, really.
Do you know the story behind that match?
Mr. Perfect was
Crippled.
injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, badly.
He had a bad back, and he was dropping the IC title
Because he couldn't wrestle anymore, and he still
you watch
bumped
that-
like
if you watch that match,
crazy.
you
all
could not
over the
believe
place.
he was-
Yeah. He was in.
Specific.
Well, he
That's,
had
where,
a.
that's where Bret Hart stripped him in his
That's
suit.
right.
Yeah.
And he has it over his shoulder at the end. Yeah. Well,
And,
Kurt Hennig is my favorite ever wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely my
That's
favorite
it.
ever
And like I
wrestler.
think you watch that match, and like again, it was like the first time I think anybody kicked out the Perfect Plex and
That's
stuff
right.
like that, and like it was just built up really big, and like that match on that card, like the first thing I exposed to, stood out to me loads.
It's a great match. I think Bret Hart had a habit as well of really making I mean, not that Hennig needed any help to be made to look great, but he had that ability of just making the guy he was in with look like an absolute killer. It's the match with Austin at WrestleMania 12, I believe it was, where Austin passes out to the sharpshooter when he's covered in blood. Obviously, Austin was on the up at that point. He wasn't quite at that level yet, but Bret made him look.
Bret made him.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's also one of the greatest double turns in terms of wrestling history. That was fantastic. But yeah, you know what? That as a match goes, it might, as you say, it might not be the greatest match, but I absolutely get why you love it, because I love it as well.
Got me into wrestling, and that's that when I was like 6 years old or whatever. Like
that's perfect. I love that. I love it. What about yourself?
I honestly couldn't pick one.
Really, I love that. No, I love that though.
I mean, it's not like the greatest match, but I think as a spectacle and me, nostalgia, thinking of me as a young wrestling fan, watching Hogan Warrior.
Perfect at Mania 6.
And as a technical match compared to what Jim's just talked about, it's not on that level.
It
never needed to be though, did it?
What it delivers and the way the crowd got into it, and you had effectively two faces wrestling.
That's right.
Which is always a challenge because somebody is always the default heel.
Well, they've got to lead the match. Yeah.
They managed to work that match, and they both got over.
It was incredible. Well, the thing is as well, I mean, obviously that was in Toronto, I believe, wasn't it? And Edge, Adam Copeland, was in the crowd at that, and it's one of the main things that inspired him to finally give it a go. He always wanted to do it, but he was in the crowd, and there's a very famous picture of him. He's picked out in the crowd. You could see him. He had long hair, and you could see him in the crowd. And I love that. You know what I mean? But that, as you say, wasn't the greatest match in terms of the technical side of it. I mean, the thing is as well, going off that, one of the most famous wrestling matches in the world was Hogan Andre. It was a nothing entity in terms of it was a one-spot match. You know, they were leading to that body slam finish. And the irony is, it wasn't even the first time he'd slammed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't even the first time he'd been slammed by Hogan. Apparently,
that's it. Yeah.
Loads of people had done it.
Oh, there's loads of footage. There's Jake the Snake Roberts had done it.
Had he?
Yeah. Apparently, because
I know they did a thing. Used to ride together.
Well, that's it. Jake and Andre were really close, and apparently Jake had said if Andre didn't want you to slam him, you would slamming him.
Yeah.
And then they were in a match. Well, that's it. The guy that size, you're not doing anything he doesn't want you to do. And he had said apparently they were in a match on a tour, so it was probably just an untelevised show, I'm guessing. And he had said, "We're going to slam him." He's like, "Andre, I can't." And he had apparently screamed at him, "Slam me!" And he had picked him up, and that was that.
Yes, Andre.
And that was apparently it. And that was Jake Roberts, who wasn't exactly, the most physically imposing specimen, but he slammed him. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It just shows you as I was saying to you before, the trust between wrestlers, isn't it? You know what I mean? And
to be fair,
this is it.
Most people, if they don't want to be slammed, sandbag.
We just dead. You go dead weight, don't you? Yeah. I mean, I'd imagine if you're a littler guy and a big guy wants to throw your booty, there's not really a lot you can do there. But, I would imagine. But I mean, that's me as a non-work, I guess, in that. What about yourself in terms of?
I can't remember if it's a match or if it was just a segment of a promo.
Right.
The altercation between Booker T and Stone Cold
in the grocery store.
Yeah. Was just hoying nuts at him.
Fantastic.
Covering him in potatoes.
Yeah. Clean up on aisle 6 and all that. And he's poured milk all over him and stuff. Do you know what? That wasn't a match. It was just an interview. It's like a pre-recorded segment. It was, and the thing is, it went on for ages. That was a really long segment, but it was great.
I watched it back recently, and all I could think is, this must have been so expensive.
Yeah. The amount of cost. Yeah.
None of those nuts are going back in the bag.
Do you know what's really funny? When he's got him is he in like the shopping trolley at the end and he's all covered in milk and crap. Watch Booker, he's trying his best to keep a straight face. He's dying. Stone Cold Steve Austin's cutting all this crap on him and saying, because he's narrating the whole thing, and he's like, the only thing I can even liken it to is, did you ever used to watch TNA when Booker T was in TNA, when he was the blue blood type character? You ever seen the match where he was doing the narration? He was actually commentating on his own match in the ring.
Oh, no, but that's
he's
brilliant.
going, Booker T's going to stand on him. Oh, and he's commentating and he's doing this whole thing. And he's just basically, he has admitted his behaviour in TNA was horrendous. He didn't want to be there. He just basically took it as a paid holiday. He's admitted that. So that's not me seeing anything slanderous or libelous or anything like that. It was all true. But yeah, there's a match. And he's in this full red gown, clown king thing. And he's microphone and he's, Booker T's gonna, and he's hitting him and he's commentating on his own moves as he's doing them.
Amazing.
And it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in wrestling. It's fantastic.
The Gene Money match where he came out as like a film noir detective?
Oh,
No, I'm not
He's,
saying.
he's just in his
Brilliant.
usual kit, but then he's got like a trilby and
like trench coat sort of thing.
yeah, trench coat on.
Right.
And he gets
Also, like a
abs-
1950s
Like
noir.
hard-boiled Dick
Yeah, yeah.
Tracy
Oh
sort of
my
thing.
god!
like.
Right.
he gets
Okay.
hoofed in the face and he goes down and the lights go out and then there's just this announcement over the tannoy. It's like, it was at this moment that I realised.
I've not seen that. That's
Oh,
great. I
so
love
good.
things like that. Do you know what? I love
He
comedy
runs
and
it back
wrestling.
like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
I
he
think
gets
that's
up and then gets
fantastic.
hoofed again, doesn't he?
I love that. I love comedy and wrestling. You know, I'm not a big fan of what I would consider silly wrestling, but I think I mentioned this with. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike it, but at the same time, I like it to have a certain level of seriousness, if they will. However, me and Matty, and Ryan and whatnot, when we had them on last time, we were talking about different types of wrestling, and obviously, as I've mentioned, I'm not a fan of deathmatch wrestling, which I mentioned in the previous video. But at the same time, I understand there is a massive appeal for it. And it's the same with comedy wrestling. People go, it's silly. It's like, well, you just don't want to have a laugh.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You know what I mean?
For that, but there is deathmatch
Much,
wrestling,
yeah.
Well, that's
unfortunately.
it. Yeah. And I mean, the
Nice.
match wrestling is crazy. I mean, I watched the. Do you ever watch Dark Side of the Ring?
Seen
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
of
Have you
them,
seen the CZW episode, the Nick Gage one?
Oh, is that the
when
one
he's
when
basically
he bleeds out
died?
under the
Yeah.
It's like when he's going, I've got put me back. I've got
Yeah,
one
just
more
tape
move
it
in
up.
me.
I've got it. Yeah, I need to go out there
Yeah.
and at least let me get pinned or something.
Yeah.
He wants to go out there and take a finish.
He's in a helicopter or something. They're
Yeah.
about to air vac him
They
out.
said he was
and,
dead for something like 8 minutes or something, or 7 minutes or something, which is insane to think and this is where I'm going to get back at people who slag off wrestling, fake match. You know what I mean? Because I hate that word. I mean, you as workers probably hate that way more than I do. But when people say, you mentioned it before, I think, Jim, where you were saying, you do know it's fake. Every wrestling fan, every wrestler's probably been asked, you do know it's fake. It's like, no, I'm that stupid. I didn't know that, you know. So I've been watching it for 40 years and I never quite fucking figured that one out, you know what I mean? It's like, no, but I love, I mean, have you ever seen the David Arquette documentary, just quickly before I move on?
I've not seen the documentary. I know, like, he did like WCW and then he ended up doing a death match.
David
with
Arquette
Nick
Must
Gage.
Die, it's called.
Right.
It's a match with Nick Gage. And he basically said, look, I'm an actor, don't cut me. And he ends up getting stabbed in the neck.
Throat cut or something.
The Dark Side of the Ring episode as well.
Did they cover it in that? Did they? I can't remember that one. Yeah, right.
Definitely, I've seen stuff about it.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah. I mean, he basically got stabbed in the neck with I think it was a light tube, wasn't it? You know, and he was basically bleeding from the neck.
Well,
and then they interviewed him the next day, and he was all patched up. And they interviewed him on like TMZ or something, and they had said, "How's it going?" He's like, "I really don't want to speak about it. He's got a big mark on his neck." You know?
I'm on telly. I don't want to speak about it. It's how I made it.
He's honestly blood pissing out of his neck and that. You know what I mean?
I mean,
but no.
if you will wrestle Nick Gage.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing. And I mean, talking of injuries, this leads into where I want to go next, if you don't mind, just move on. Obviously, in terms of the modern product, I know you're saying you don't necessarily watch it. I don't necessarily watch it constantly. What I tend to do is I'll watch it in segments and then I'll perhaps read on it, which I mentioned to you, Thomas, before we come to camera, you know. Seth Rollins, their top champion, or second main top champion, as it were, is injured and has had to not vacate the title yet. I'm guessing they're going to drop the title and give, by the looks of it, probably Braun Breaker the rub in terms of getting the title off him, because he had a match with Cody in Perth, the Crown Jewel event, 2 weeks ago now, I think it was, or last week or whatever it was, and he did a move he's never done before, which is a coast-to-coast headbutt, and he lands so badly on his left shoulder. It's the worst landing I've seen in a long, long time, and he instantly has his arm tight to his body, so he's obviously seriously hurt, you know. In terms of that, obviously now they're going to have to move on, and they've kicked him out of his own faction. They've pulled forward a storyline, from what I can gather, probably 8 months. Because it was looking around Mania time they were going to do this.
All right.
So it's probably about 6 to 8 months they've advanced the storyline out of necessity more than anything. In terms of that, how do you feel about that? In terms of, you know, wrestlers perhaps pulling something out of their wheelhouse they have never used and then hurting themselves? How does that make you, you know, as workers?
Seems unwise.
Yeah,
like
especially on a stage that big.
Yeah, I've been practicing a buckshot shoulder on and off for 4 years.
Right.
I'm not going to put it in a match until I can land it.
Until you're happy with it.
Not least of all because you might injure yourself. You might end up just looking like a clown. Like CM Punk.
What when he tried the buckshot lariat, and fell on his arse, basically. Yeah.
I think it can depend on the move. So an example is a couple of shows ago I took superplex.
Right.
Now, I've never taken a superplex before.
Oh, really?
But I knew the theory behind it. I've taken a suplex. It's just a suplex off the top rope.
Yeah.
It's just
a bigger fall, basically. Yeah.
Bollocks, am I going to practice that beforehand?
Oh God, really?
I don't want to take that bump any more than I have to take that bump. So I was like, well, I know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
The risks are with me anyway, so like I can control it.
Well, that's it. You're doing your own. Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, yeah, sorry.
How did it feel?
Fine.
Yeah.
The bump was fine. It was just you feel like you're in the air forever.
How was
You
it?
feel like you're dropping forever. Surely the ring's going to hit me at some point. Yeah, there
No,
it is.
Well, it's like a trust fall, isn't it? That's the thing. It's like a trust fall where you're falling from a.
you kind of like flip yourself over.
Yeah.
He set me up for it, and I got myself onto the top rope. And
You push off
like,
from the top rope, don't you?
Well, we said right, the cue was going to be like count to three.
Right.
1, 2, 3, we'll go. And he said to me, because I'm the one who's got to push myself off.
Yeah.
He's like, you count. So I said 1, and then I felt him tense up.
Oh, so he was going.
We're going now.
Well, it was good that you were intuitive enough, though, to understand that perhaps the change in the way he was feeling.
It was that daft thing where he thought we were going to go at 1.
Oh God! Right.
Starting at 1.
One.
And we're good. Yeah.
Sticky dick.
I love that. I love that. But no, I mean, as you say, the travel time on it was considerably more than you're used to on an old. It's one of those bumps. I mean, obviously, there's been some very famous superplexes over the years. Most notably, a couple of times with Brock Lesnar and Big Show. I can't imagine how that would feel because I mean, having never taken anything resembling a bump. I'll tell you a little anecdote, a little story. Years ago, when I had tried to get back into the local scene, I had getting involved with coming to meet Matty Mayhem, and I was involved with someone who I won't mention because he's no longer a friend of mine. He was somebody who I give him his dues. He did introduce me to Wayne and Matty, but other than that, no mention. And I had gotten in to interview Matty, and I was very green, and I wasn't particularly good at talking like I am now. I couldn't, make sentences flow, and I hadn't practiced anything. I hadn't written anything, and I got in and I interviewed Matty, and I tried to do it as a heel. Now I'm not good at that. I'm nice to everybody, so it just kind of like comes across as very disingenuous. So I tried to interview him, and in the end, I was like, we had decided Matty was going to give me a forearm, and I was going to fall. Now I have boxed, I've kickboxed, I've done jiu-jitsu my whole life. You wouldn't think it now looking at me, but I used to be a downright athlete. Never had an injury. Never in my life. Sore knee. That was about it. He hits me with a forearm that I take my own bump to the floor and bust my shoulder. Yeah. Only injury I've ever had on a fake hit.
Like, yeah. I'll say this before. The thing I've seen injure more people than anybody else, anything else in wrestling, is a forward roll.
Really?
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
God, that boy's shoulder.
I've taken people to the hospital after doing the front roll.
Yeah.
Breaking their shoulder.
We've seen lads break collarbones, lads injure tendons. We've seen lads just face plant.
Oh my God! Right?
It's just the not rotating. Like, I don't need to explain a somersault. But you land, like, on the top of your back, you have to fully rotate. If you don't, you just come down on the top of your shoulder.
Oh God!
All of your weight going through a joint. It's not built.
Not for that.
No. And that's isn't that so crazy though? Because you see, as you say, you took superplexes, you go through tables, you do death matches. The most innocuous thing, something to teach you in first school, a forward roll, and you hurt yourself to a level that you say hospital visit.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy, but no, like I say, only injury I've ever had in my life that I would ever consider an actual injury. Didn't need surgery or anything, but by God, I was sore for about 2 weeks. And I just kind of, do you know what's funny though? The footage doesn't exist anymore because I asked Matty. I said, "Did you have it?" Because I think it was on his camera. We filmed it, and I had asked him, and I said, "Have you got it anymore?" And he had said, "No, unfortunately not." What is funny though, he did show me it back at the time, and you can hear me on the floor going, and I'm like all knackered. And I remember lying there thinking, "What the fuck have I done?" You know what I mean?
So then Matty said, "Hold my beer."
That's it. Oh, I know. My God,
Yeah.
that scar on his shoulder is crazy, isn't it? But obviously we've discussed that. I mean, say again?
I broke my arm at some point.
All right.
But like,
didn't notice for like 2 months or whatever it was. So tough.
Oh, hang on. You kept just living your life, and I assume having other matches.
Like, I noticed, like, a few months later, there was like a lump in my forearm, and then the missus got worried about it. So
Right.
insisted I go to the doctors, and the doctors was like, "Oh, it's from when you've broken your arm." I was like, "Well, I've not broken my arm." "What you have? You've broken your arm about 2 or 3 months ago." I was like, "Oh." And my arm had hurt.
Yeah.
I'd had a sore arm for quite a bit, but then it got better, so I stopped worrying about it.
Do you know how you did it?
No. I can remember watching some, like,
I think that's worse, isn't
Aurora
it? You know what I
watched
mean?
some videos back at the time, and she thinks it was from a match we had. I think it was me coming off a top rope because she was saying I was wincing more than I usually would.
Me against you?
I think so.
Didn't come off. Oh, you did the swanton.
I did, yeah.
But you shouldn't have landed on your hands.
No, I shouldn't have broken my arm doing anything.
Sorry, I just
Yeah, but Dave who half kicked me in the mouth last
Oh
week.
Christ!
I blacked my eye in a ring once.
so.
I'm a safe worker.
I was going to say, I was just going to lead in there. Is there anything you'd like to admit here? No, I kid.
To be fair, we joke about this, but Dave's mostly a danger to himself.
True.
Like,
True,
if you see some of the bumps this man's taken, it's fucking ridiculous. You know, when somebody's got a stupid idea for something in a match, they're I'll do it.
The first one I saw, when we were wrestling in the brewery, and you did the Benny Hill chase around the ring, took yourself out on the ring
comedy
post.
genius.
Oh, that was a
onto
different. That was a
concrete floor.
wasn't
Oh,
the Benny Hill
God.
one, but yeah, you're
That
running
Benny
from.
Hill.
No, this was Adventure Time. You're running from Lou, weren't you?
Did I stolen his nose? Why was
No.
he running away?
Stolen
Just
his
in the one
nose.
where you run at the post, it was
Yeah.
just because Lou was angry at you, and
That was it.
we'd all
Yeah.
run.
I just running away from Lou Nixon because Lou Nixon's terrifying.
Right,
Hit the turnbuckle on the outside,
right.
and in my head beforehand, I was like, I'll go oh and fall over as
Yeah.
you do, but I was full of adrenaline, just hit it, feet straight up, like full on.
Oh
like,
my
on-
God.
And the Time Bank Brewery's concrete.
Solid
Yeah.
concrete
It was-
floor.
And like he had hang time before he hit that.
Oh,
He goes up.
yeah, it
Woo!
was-
It's a lovely slap.
So this is like a Home Alone type bump, you know what I mean?
very much.
Yeah. God
The worst thing was
almighty.
watching it back though,
Yeah.
because like the video footage of it, there's 3 or 4 fellas in the front
Yeah.
row who I land right in front of.
Oh.
Who never look up from their phones.
Yeah.
Oh my
So I took
God.
that bump for nobody.
The thing is, that wasn't even the worst bump you took in that much
Oh, the
of the hoist spot.
yes,
So
what's it called?
the Doomsday device.
Doomsday
You
device.
took a doomsday device.
The thing
Chris
is,
and Lou coached me through this over and over again.
Right.
Callum will push your legs. You chuck yourself back. You
Yeah.
land on your face. We practiced it loads. I nailed it. Came to the time. Did not throw myself back. Callum pushed my legs. So I just came up and landed like
Like
a
a
lawn dart.
Oh
head
my
first into the ring.
God.
Took it all on his neck.
Chris from the other side of the ring's like, all right. Because he's like selling these. Are you okay? Are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine.
Can I ask you then, because this is a perfect leading question
Sweet
now.
spot there.
Off the back of your illustrious colleagues explaining that you seem to be on a death wish almost, do you have any like long do you have any long lasting effects from these injuries, or like the arm, for example, is a one that I can't get my head around. You lived
No,
for like
it's like it's slightly more of an angle than it used to be, but like
so you can reach around corners a little bit better than perhaps you used to be able to.
but no, my toes
Oh, yeah.
sometimes play up.
Right?
Like,
Broke him
I'm
a
not
lot.
sure how. I think the original problem was taking a stone cold stunner,
Yeah.
and coming down with my feet pointed at the floor.
Oh my
And,
God.
every now and again, just me toes.
Yeah, they're probably all broken, or
Oh,
at least they
definitely.
were. You know, they definitely were. My God.
Yeah, it's nothing other than just being old.
You know, in
Yeah.
terms
Most
of,
my pain is being old.
I get that. No, that's just the thing. I mean, I might not be at the level of fitness that you all are, but I mean, in terms of injuries and just hurting because
Yeah.
life just hurts when you hit a certain age.
Yeah.
I've got a baby due imminently, as I've said. I can't wait until she's about 3 or 4 years old, and I am crawling after her because I can't run. You know, it's like, it's going to be interesting. But you'll all hopefully meet her when she's arrived, because I'm going to bring her to a show at some point.
nice.
So you'll probably all get to meet her. Just on that basis, though, this honestly, you've got no idea. This is flowing so well because I've had a list of things that I mentioned it to yourself before we got started. In terms of obviously crazy bumps, have any of you seen anything from AEW Wrestle Dream this weekend?
Not from the Wrestle Dream.
Oh
no.
my God!
Is it the Darby Allin Moxley?
Darby Allin
I
Moxley
bet
match.
that's- I bet
My
that's mental.
Just one of them just
God, Claudio
stabbed me up.
Castagnoli.
Just decapitation, probably. Just like
It's do you know what, it's
puts
going
it
to get
into a
to the
wood
point.
chipper.
It is going to get to the point with them two where they're going to have to kill each other just to up the previous. I think Thomas and I were talking before we had come to camera, where Rennie Paquette, who's Rennie Young, is John Moxley's real life wife, and she's an announcer and backstage commentator, interviewer and stuff at AEW. Now she came out and cut a promo after the match saying, he's got to come home to our daughter. He's, regardless of all the bumps, this and there, he's my husband. And it didn't feel scripted. It felt very like she was sick to death of this. You know what I mean? Because this guy, I am going to be honest, hand on heart, I cannot stand John Moxley. I think
really?
he, honestly,
I loved John Moxley, and then he
this Death Riders gimmick's awful.
It's just the
Doesn't work that
It's
well.
the escalating horrible bumps. Like I've not watched them for a while, but seeing people having to peel that bloody nailed bat out of his
Yeah,
back.
that was a
Yeah,
bit
it's stupid. Why take that? That's at that point.
Grotesque.
Well, that's it exactly. That it gets to the point of being grotesque. Now, I mean, do you know the Death Riders angle that they're currently running and have been running for a fucking lifetime? Sorry, I shouldn't talk down because it's not my thing. But at the same time, do you know what? Not to disparage anybody who likes AEW, each to their own. At the moment, their product is difficult to watch. It really is.
Just wanted to get me back into wrestling.
Yeah.
now.
I know, and that's the
AEW
thing I've actually
restarted.
wanted to lean on as well, because obviously you mentioned that before. But I mean, last night in the event, Claudio Castagnoli, obviously there was a multitude of interference, you know, WCW 2000 era level of interference.
Sure.
And he throws Darby Allin through the announce table from the ring. Yeah, which is I mean, if anybody's going to do that bump, throw that is Claudio, because he's as strong as an ox. It's insane, isn't it?
From what
The
I've seen,
table doesn't break.
I don't think Darby would have taken much persuading either.
No,
Yeah,
he's probably his
I
idea.
was going to say that was probably his idea.
Yeah, the table doesn't break either. He hits the table, you know, the 3D awning thing they have on the top. That kind of slides out the way, but other than that, the table stays completely standing. He just rolls off the back. It's insane.
Terrifying. Like, do you remember the Swerve Strickland Hangman Page matches?
Yes.
And they're doing like the gringo colour on the cinder blocks, and you're thinking like your margin for error between just having a horrible spot and being paralysed is like that.
Well, that's
like,
it, and they just don't. I mean, look at. Did you remember
amazing wrestlers, amazing match.
All great talent.
Fuck me, it was close, eh?
Well, they had that bit of a spate of injuries in AEW, didn't they? Where like Matt Hardy got really badly hurt against Sammy Guevara.
Oh, it's not because he jumped on his head.
When he threw him back off a set of pallets and smashed his head on the floor.
Yeah, that was naughty.
And Rebby Hardy, Matt's real life wife, was on the internet saying you should have stopped the match and this and the other. And I just think in terms of injuries, I don't understand how the likes of Darby Allin, John Moxley, Nick Gage, people of that level, are still standing. I don't understand how.
Have you seen Nick Gage standing recently?
No, I haven't seen anything recent of him in a long time, to be honest.
He struggles to stand.
Really?
It's like if you look at Mick Foley and some of the stuff he puts out, you see him ambling around now.
He's like an old man, isn't he?
The guy struggles to get about.
And he's not, what is he, probably 10 years older than we are?
Must be in his 60s.
Yeah.
Foley.
Foley. Nick Gage is younger than me.
I'm going to say
Never
Yeah.
is.
I'm sure Nick Gage is only about 40 years old.
I mean,
Well, that tells you everything.
Yeah.
about the career.
I'm sure he's only about 40 years old. I might be wrong,
Plus
so
the-
anybody
plus
wants to
the
correct me,
time in
please
jail.
comment. But
Yeah.
no, I'm sure Nick Gage is only about 40 years old, give or take. He might not even be that. But he's been through Christ. Well, that's the thing. This is why I won't ever knock a person's tastes in wrestling. And this is what I was saying. Obviously, I'm not personally a fan of AEW. Anybody is, Philly Boots enjoy it. It's for everyone. I firmly believe that. But at the same time, I just can't get into that level of, and it is violence. It's not entertaining when it gets to the point where you can't even look at the screen because the guys are bleeding from places that shouldn't be bleeding, and it's like.
Other than their vaginas.
This is it, nowhere should be bleeding, to be fair, but you know what I mean. You go and watch a boxing match, somebody will get a cut on the face or get a cut on the on the nose or whatever. That's expected, but when you see people, they've got blood pissing out their sides and shit like that, I can't get into that. Now, as I say, each to their own. I intend to have people on here who do that kind of match, because do you know what, that will make for an absolutely fantastic show, because to actually sit down with people who do that, I'd love to know the mindset of it, how you get into the. Well, it's not what's wrong. What I can't get my head around is I find it amazing what you guys do, and that's a proper wrestling. Please don't, God Almighty, this is only the 4th episode. I don't want to be cancelled yet, but you know what I mean, like a traditional wrestling match. Let me rephrase that: a traditional wrestling matches. And the mindset you guys must have to get yourselves in to go out there in front of people and know that you're going to do 10, 12, 15 minutes, whatever, possibly longer. And actually put on a show and make it entertaining, make it look good, make it, like I say, you've all made a good impression on my little girl at her first show. She was absolutely in awe of you. And I just think that's a testament to yourselves. But I mean, in terms of like deathmatch wrestling, you've got to go out there and you're going to be hit with barbed wire, bats covered in Christ knows what, light tubes, sheets of glass, door frames. You see these. I mean, have you seen the spot that's been doing the rounds recently where they do the suplex off the scaffold and into the ring, and the ring's covered in barbed wire and glass?
I've seen something like that. I mean, I always say like,
I have no idea who was involved in it, but I saw the spot, and I, honest to God, I could not.
I saw one recently with Madman Pondo, and they've got the barbed wire rigged up in like this wooden box that they've built in the middle of the ring.
I think this is the one. Yeah.
He comes down hips first on the wooden frame.
Oh,
And I'm
Jesus
thinking,
Christ.
everything else aside, that'll have been the
Awful.
worst bit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
I
I
just
think they're a different. They're a different.
they're a different breed in the
different breed
sense,
and
and
stuff,
I mean
like-
that's what I'm on about in terms of the
It's
mindset.
definitely different mentality.
It is got to,
it,
hasn't it?
So you have to like admire what they're willing to do
Oh,
themselves in the
100%.
name of entertainment. I couldn't.
No.
Couldn't do
I
it.
literally couldn't. I struggled to walk the day after like just a match where I've taken a few bumps.
Yeah.
But Ryan Ace
But
was
But
telling me.
it's like it's like when you watch the sort of super high flyers.
Yeah. Again, the lucha stuff's
and,
incredible.
Yeah, and you see them do flips, and it's very acrobatic. And I admire it as a style because I cannot do that. I'm
No.
going to be doing.
I would never have
450s
been
off the
capable of
top
that.
rope
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
like that. It's not my favorite type of wrestling.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
I find it a little bit too performancy. It doesn't.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't tell a story. It's just a lot of moves strung together.
It's
and-
moves
but
for the
it
sake
looks
of it, isn't it?
impressive.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it looks like you've gone to the circus and watched the gymnasts do it.
Well, it's the Ricochet Will Ospreay thing, isn't it? Yeah. I mean,
and a lot of people
please
share
don't-
those clips. And
yeah.
they're amazing athletes.
Yeah.
And what they do is fantastic.
does nothing
But
for me.
It's not the form of wrestling that I would particularly.
Well, what gets me is if they're not touching each other, how is it even wrestling? If they're not even in a fight where they're like backflipping and then doing the Superman Iron Man landing and things like that. Don't be wrong, as you say, looks fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Not for me. Doesn't do it for
I
me.
think this brings us nicely to in a full circle to comedy wrestling.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Look at them laughing.
We built our whole tag team on references to old films. Always Sunny in Philadelphia and an ongoing joke about a denim budget. But like, I feel like you can do literally whatever you want in the ring,
Yeah, yeah.
provided like it makes sense.
Yeah, I'll give
even
you
when
that.
it doesn't make sense. Like, I
Provided,
had that match with Unit and I stole his nose,
yeah.
and it didn't make any sense. But within the confines of the rules of
Yeah.
what we'd set up for that
Yeah,
reality, it made sense.
suspended disbelief.
Well, that's it.
And you can do anything so long as the crowd are entertained. That's like the
They
only
pay their
goal.
money for that
That's
reason.
the only goal. Doesn't matter how you do it. Like,
HD Dre said to me that he's put on like 20-minute matches where he's taken like 3 bumps and the crowd have loved it.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to go in there and kill yourself.
Exactly my point.
You don't have to go in
Yeah.
there and jump off a balcony and do
Exactly.
mad shit. You know, tell a story
Yeah.
and it's compelling and the crowd are into it.
Exactly.
we had
Suppose
a.
that depends on your crowd, though, doesn't it?
So we did a match with the Cosplay Kings not long after we started,
Right.
and it was only like 10, 12 minutes before any wrestling happened. Like,
But I
lo-
bet the fans were into it. Though.
Oh yeah, it
yeah.
was just so much like pointing and shouting and arguing and
See, I
posing,
love that.
like,
I
it
love
was-
that. Do you know?
Nicky Starr spent about 5 minutes with the crowd in the palm of his hand,
Yeah.
just telling me I looked like Sami Zayn.
While he was
Awesome.
dressed as Sami Zayn.
I somehow forgot that.
Yeah,
bit.
because it was the Cosplay Kings and they come out as like Sami Zayn and Kevin Steen
Right.
and Jericho and what have you. And yeah,
I love that.
he was dressed as Sami
I love
Zayn,
that.
telling Dave off for looking like Sami Zayn.
Nicky is phenomenal though. He's working like
Yeah.
I've learned so much from wrestling.
Yeah.
Nicky and people like him, Biggs and
Biggs is a great
Austin
heel.
Barrett, people like that,
Great heel.
because they're so good at listening to the crowd
Yeah.
and working off the crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll pick up on something that the crowd will respond to, and then they will double down on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Go
You know,
after it.
before you know it, you haven't wrestled a move in 5 minutes, but he's had the crowd.
What you want, though, isn't it? I think that's one of the things people expect, especially in modern wrestling. I think people go in there with a certain level of expectation for theatrics and performance and this, that, and the other. Before, as you say, before even any moves. Speaking of moves, though, just to quickly segue back to the bad bumps. I think it was in your match. You wrestled Joe, didn't you? Joe Joseph
I
Biggs in the
think,
first
yeah.
match at that last event. I'm pretty sure it was you. Did you take a bump on that hardwood floor off Joe jumping on you? Was it
I don't
you?
think so.
Somebody
No,
did.
I
I
in
forget who it
fact,
was.
That was a good day's work because I think I only took 2 or 3 bumps. Actually.
Really? All right.
Yeah, that was a
There
good
was
day, yeah.
one of the matches. I thought it was yourself, to be honest with you, but it was one of the matches. I forget exactly who it was now. But he took from the apron, like a crossbody, onto the floor, and you heard even Owen, the ref, kind of went. Because it was just
it was like
thinking he
the main event. He did a cannonball. Satchel did a cannonball.
that's what it was. It was the main event against Davenport.
Davenport,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That was gnarly.
Did you hear the noise? And it was Owen's face. He kind of just went, and you could see, and I looked at my missus. She was sitting next to me, and I went, aye, that could have been bad. And she just went, mine went, well, nobody moved for about a good 30 seconds. And it was like, yeah. And the fact that there was no padding on the floor, and it was what you were saying about the flat back bump on like concrete and stuff, or a bump on the concrete in general.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Jesus Christ, it's got to bloody hurt, you know what I mean?
Kind of like
People work hard.
the adrenaline is pumping though.
Right.
At the moment, and I've taken the odd bump on the outside,
Right.
not onto concrete, but onto wooden floors.
It
like
can't feel good.
Gymnasium type floors.
That's what this was, yeah.
It sucks, but as I say, like the adrenaline's pumping. And if you take it
Till the
properly,
next day.
flat back,
Yeah.
you
Spreading it,
fine.
yeah.
It just
You're welcome to it,
What's your
Steve.
worst bum?
worst bump.
Yeah. Mine's easy.
You know what?
Have you not got like a
I'm not
list?
sure. I could think of like 3 or 4 it could be for you.
I've had a couple of silky bumps. Some of the worst have been where they've actually been in the ring when I took a springboard forearm off HD Drake
Right.
in the ring, and so he springboard off the top rope and just hit me with the forearm. We both came down, and I think he hit the ring slightly before me. Took all of the all of the spring out the ring, so it literally compressed it. So when I hit it, I was literally just hitting a solid steel and wood frame.
Oh my god!
And that knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
But I wasn't expecting it to be a bad bump. Like,
Is that worse though? Yeah.
You're expecting it to hurt, and it does. But when you just expect to take a standard bump off a forearm, you're like, this is sweet. I've done this 1,000 times.
Was that not the fact that your body wasn't ready because you were preparing for a bump you knew how to take?
Just took me
Yeah,
by surprise.
yeah, I get
Just
that.
drive the wind out of you.
Christ, that sounds awful. There's nothing worse though than being winded and like because you then got to got up and got to go. Oh God, I can't breathe, kind of thing, you know.
5 minutes too much.
What was yours then, Dave?
Mine would be remember the match I had against Boogie.
Yes.
It was a pre-packed card.
Right.
We had 5 minutes for our match.
Right.
So he sent us as inspiration Taz versus
Kurt
Angle.
Oh wow.
Royal Rumble night.
Taz's debut.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. And it was like brutal. 5 minutes, like something like this. I was like, how about we just do that match? So we just did that match.
Fantastic.
And he got us with a snap suplex on the outside.
Yeah.
And he looked after us, kept us nice and low. It was on the outside and it was a snap suplex and it was horrible. And the bit it got me was in me calves.
You bring your heels.
So I landed nice and flat on my feet, but just the shock waves coming up.
Oh, really?
I struggled to walk for like 2 days.
Jesus Christ! And this was mid-match, I take it as well.
This was within about 30 seconds.
Oh my
of
God!
the
Wow,
time.
right? Jesus Christ! Yeah, that would be rough. I mean, anybody who's ever jarred like anything like that, and just in normal life, to then try and like get yourself back up. I mean, not that it's the same thing. If this is where you can indulge me, because I guess it's the only story I've got anything close to anything. I used to train, like I said, I trained kickboxing for years, and I was sparring. And I have a bad right knee to this day because of this. And this happened probably about 15 years ago. And I was sparring, and I don't know if you've ever worn, you know, the kickboxing shin guards that cover your feet and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen them.
Yeah. Well, I was sparring, and like I'd stepped in for a punch and then stepped back, and the kid, as I stepped back, who was also called Stephen, swung an outside kick, and caught my kneecap and pushed it around the side of my leg. I felt good. And then, but what was great was there was no popping of the skin, no real damage. It just kind of clicked and then clicked straight back into place.
So, you know, when you said like you'd only ever injured your shoulder.
Well, that was
apart from that,
yeah. I mean, it crunches now when I bend it. It does crunch. But yeah, he caught it, and even he heard it, and everybody in the room heard it. There was about 20 people training. It was like an open sparring session, and he hit me. It was fine. All that happened was it clicked about. It clicked about 6 centimeters or so this way, and then just clicked straight back in. So there was nothing torn. And I remember we looked down because it was kind of there. And then I straightened my leg and it popped back in, and it was fine. And then we carried on, and I was kind of like a little bit knackered, but it was all right. And then next day I woke up and it was a bit swollen.
Yeah, funny that.
And I never went and got it checked. That's the worst part about it. And now when I bend my right knee, it crunches.
Yeah, you make a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Back to training 3 days later, it's fine.
But no, do you know what was worse? It was an hour training session. And my logic was, well, I paid £7 for this. You know? So yeah. And I remember going home that night. Now at the time I had just sold a house and I was back living at my parents. And I had gotten home just while I was waiting to get a new place. And I had gotten home, my dad, I was limping obviously. And I got in, my father went, "You all right?" And I just went, yeah. He went, "Why are you limping?" I went, "It's sore." And he went, "I'm not surprised, kickboxing." thought nothing of it. Went to bed, woke up the next day, and was like, "Oh shit!"
Uh,
And I just went to work. Just went to work the next day. But yeah. I mean, in terms of injuries, that's the only time. I mean, other than the shoulder one, but that's the only time we would ever consider a real injury. And I don't think it's a bad injury because, or at least maybe over time, it was nasty. It was
several decades later, you're still feeling it.
crunches when I bend it. Yeah. It was. I was lying on the sofa the other night with my missus, and I went like that straight at my leg, and she went, "What the hell was that?" And it was my knee crunching. So yeah, I think surgery might be in order, but I'm not doing it. So that's fine. You know.
I lasted this long.
Exactly. I can still walk.
no point now.
It hurts when it's cold, and all of the time. But no. I mean, it is, isn't it? I know we've kind of. Do you know the scene in Lethal Weapon when they're comparing injuries and I got shot here. This is what it's turned into. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, come on, then worst bump for yourself. Then.
The one that sticks out. Third ever match. Now I ended up with quite a bad muscle tear, like up my calf and up my hamstring in this. But the weird thing was, like, the guy who gave us the move couldn't have given us it any better.
Oh, really?
Like, it was working the tag match with Jay, Big Squeezy, and Reese from Hype Train.
Yes.
And picked us up for full Nelson Slam.
Right.
I was sitting on the floor, had the other guy in the armbar. He comes up, hikes us up, big strong boy, just lifts us up, spun us round, put us down.
Christ almighty.
Perfectly flat on my back, but I went up and down. But when we've gone up, he'd said, kick your legs. So I kicked my legs. Obviously, you rotate as you're coming down. So when I hit the deck, perfectly flat, he put us down flat as you like.
Right.
My leg continued to travel this way.
Oh, no.
Oh,
my
I took
God.
a move. I woke up, like, sort of came up, bam. Oh, is everything all right? No, my leg hurts. My leg hurts. And then, like, next day, like, woke up, really couldn't walk. And then we eventually got the footage and I watched it back, like, in slow mo, trying to work out, like, what happened?
Oh,
and you can see, like, this leg comes, like, over.
So just hyperextended, basically, was it? Oh my God!
And that one was bad. That's the worst.
That's worse than my dodgy kneecap. Like,
I don't know, like, I've been nothing like spun around.
It just kind of, it didn't. I've probably oversold it. It only clicked like to here, but then just kind of popped back. It wasn't.
For viewers at home, he's pointing to the side of his
leg, like the other side.
It was. I mean, what was funny was it clicked, and then I just went like that, and it went pop. And pop straight back in. So it was, when you look back and you think, yeah, you're an idiot.
That much, though, that answers the question. Can you just be slammed if you don't want to be?
Oh,
yeah.
Squeezy came up behind us. He goes, German. And I tilt back to him and was like, I've never taken him.
What?
I love that.
that. Had you finished the sentence when you were...
No.
I've never...
You're already down.
Didn't post for him, didn't jump or anything. Just put us all the way back on me back.
It's like Chad Gable. He does that for being a littler guy.
When you talked about watching the footage back, reminded me of the time I nearly gone down to David.
Oh, that was fun.
Sorry, Harry. To the ground.
That gif will be online somewhere.
Yeah,
that was a good spot.
We were wrestling match. We had a spot where I can't remember whose idea it was.
I stole that from AEW. It was.
Why did you say that? Just stay quiet, man.
No, you came up with it yourself.
I thought you had. I've called that spot in matches since.
It's when Goldust is power slamming everyone one after the other, and then he's like, "Whoa, give me a minute," and then the last guy comes in.
Oh, slightly different, I guess.
So
yeah.
was it different? It wasn't a hot tag spot.
It was the hot tag.
All right, hot tag.
So I've got the hot tag.
I'm in there, and Callum comes running at me, scoop slam him, bush. Dave comes running, Harry comes running in, scoop slam. Jim, scoop slam. Harry, scoop slam. And we did, 4 or 5 times? And then the idea was that I was going to get tired.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
It's a really tough spot for Steve. Like, he really...
Harry got a little bit over enthusiastic. Plus, you were very
aggressively sweaty.
And he was getting more and more excited. He was leaping at me as I'm
basically cross-bodied you for the last one.
So he comes running at me, he launches himself at me. I catch him, spin him round for the scoop, and I go to tuck his head to so he can get the ball properly. And as I go to reach, he just slips out of my hand. And you watch the footage. We didn't realise at the time, but when you watch the footage back in slow motion, my hand misses his head, and he comes down, and he's just lawn down.
Oh
into
my
the wall,
God.
very head first. And at the last minute, I don't know how, you just flip and land on your back.
Bro.
And do you have this footage?
Yeah.
Can I see this footage at some point? Will you send it to me at some point, please? Yeah, I'd love to see
I've
that.
actually like, I'm moving the timeline backwards and forwards, and you can see him just go.
Oh my God! So I bet in your head you're like, oh, what was happening? Yeah. Oh,
And
Just
anyone
wee!
who's planning on taking up wrestling, neck bridges.
Yes.
Like,
Oh yes.
before and after any other exercise, do
Yeah.
all your neck bridges.
really?
Yeah.
Get a bit of strength
Yeah,
and
yeah.
mobility into it.
You broke one of those
Broke my head.
things because you were
What is
lifting
that?
your head harness thing. I don't know how to.
Please, no more penis talk. We had enough of this with Ryan Ace.
60 seconds is max. I can say what I like.
I'm pretty confident I've not even sworn yet.
You have.
Oh.
You absolutely have.
The big head harness that you hang
I know
on.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what
Like,
you mean.
just
Yes.
doing all your
Yeah.
weight Yeah, I've been through a few of them.
Yeah.
It's like they just can't take the weight you need
Yeah.
them to.
His neck's too thick.
I don't think they're designed for like repping 15 kilos. on your neck.
I love it. Do you know what's
What's
great
your
about
PB
this?
on the head harness? 35.
Do you know what's great about this? This particular, like you said it before, I think, and you said it as well. Old men talking about their injuries.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to talk about is the Hardy Boys winning the NXT title, and they're like old men who've taken some crazy bumps over the years.
Honestly,
Hardy Boys are in NXT.
They're the
just,
NXT
they just won the
champions.
NXT tag.
Yeah.
They're the
Good
current
on them.
TNA and NXT champions.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wrestled the Hardy. Sorry,
Dudley's,
Boys,
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
They did, and
Very
what a match!
Very
What a
good.
match
I've not
as well.
seen it yet.
Have you not
I've
seen the
I've
finish?
seen,
No,
I've
I'll-
seen the intro because they put the intro on YouTube. Of them
It's wonderful.
coming out, and Spike Dudley comes out.
Wonderful.
Which is awesome.
Have you not seen the finish?
No, I've not seen the match.
Would
yet. I'll
you-
be able to get it on
Boots
thingy.
off.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Somebody's
well, they've
watched that.
retired. The
Yeah,
finish,
I've heard it.
the finish is a Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels type finish. Basically, it's a tables match.
yeah.
Will you indulge me? Let me tell you this. I
Yeah,
know you haven't seen it, right?
they-
That's
they
fine.
win. You've already
Basically,
told us he
Devon's
wins.
already out of the match. The Hardys are standing in the ring with a chair each in their hands. Bubba's got the back of them with a table behind him, and he turns round and just goes, and they drop the chairs, they pick him up and slam him through the table. It is fantastic, absolutely
I have to go and
fantastic.
watch it.
You know, when you go about storytelling and theatrics in wrestling, it is perfect, absolutely perfect. It's the I'm sorry, I love you, but with
Yeah.
tables. It was just amazing. And again, you know what I was saying? I don't like hardcore wrestling or deathmatch wrestling or any of that stuff. Stuff like that, table matches and things like that. You know, the TLC matches from over the years between the three teams are absolutely wonderful. Honestly, right? It's on YouTube. It's segmented on YouTube. I don't think the full match is on in touch, but you can find the full match. Just watch it in segments, and it's wonderful.
Yeah,
Absolutely wonderful. It's one of those things because especially with the likes of Devon, who he hasn't perhaps aged as well as the other wrestlers. He hasn't been as active as the other wrestlers. Obviously, Bubba wrestled for TNA for quite some time. Jeff and Matt have been pretty much non-stop. Devon did his bit, like he looked great. And do you know the best part? The opening of the match, they hit a 3D pretty much straight away. And it's the opening of the match. It's fantastic. It's just, when you watch a great match.
Devon's not been terribly subtle
Yeah.
about the fact that
He's
training
knackered.
and getting
Yeah.
ready.
Well, he's already said it. He said years ago he wouldn't do it anymore because he had I think he had neck surgery or something. He had some
They've all
serious
had
surgery.
stuff, haven't they?
They all say that.
But
This is true. They all can't stay away, can't they?
What
This
did
is it.
sort of took him when the
It's
match got
pretty fun,
announced, like on his own podcast for a while, like Devon had been talking, like reviewing
Yeah.
the tables match, that the Royal Rumble, the ladders matches, all this, the TLC matches, and he was going, "How come Jeff's always jumping on me?
Softer landing.
Yeah. Bubba's nowhere to be seen. Jeff's coming off the ladder."
That's because Bubba doesn't want to do
Yeah.
it. That's why he's probably been to see them both in order, and he
Yeah.
went, "Look, do you want to do it?
Yeah,
No,
you're
go and
doing
see Devon." You know what I mean?
But
No, I love that. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And this is the thing. It's like the fact that we've all been talking about injuries and ailments and age, I think, being the big thing. The fact that those guys still put on one of the best matches of the year. And let's face it, Bubba and Devon have got to be kicking 50. Got to be, you know what I mean? Matt and Jeff on, well, that's it. Matt and Jeff are probably of a similar, Matt especially is probably 50. Jeff's probably my sort of age, probably a little bit older. And yet they go out there, and Jeff's still doing his Whisper in the Wind, not to the level he used to. He's still doing the Swanton. He's still But no, this is the thing, and I mean, I love that, you know, and the fact that they're able to do that and put on an entertaining match, which I think is honestly, mate, everything today has led so well. Honestly, I can't thank you all enough. You have made this look like it's scripted, and it's not. But no, everything you have said. Every time somebody said a little thing, I'm like, there it is. That's the one I need. That's the next bit. But honestly, leading into like the way they've worked and the way that the careers they've had, they shouldn't be standing now. Those four guys, you know, Edge and Christian are the same. Sorry, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage shouldn't.
It's like, I don't know, it's amazing. Like, you know, you were sort of talking about like matches that you got you into wrestling when you were young. Like, I'm sure you guys are the same. Like, Channel 4 went through a period of having WWE pay-per-views.
They did. They had about a year of that, didn't
and
they?
it was across that run was like one of the Royal Rumble to tables match and the Mick Foley Triple H street fight. And
great match as well.
And like, they were all insane matches. But they, you know, we were watching them dive off balconies through tables when I was 15. I'm 40 now, and they're still doing table matches.
Well, that's it. They're still doing the same
still
spots.
Doing good ones, apparently.
And that's
right?
it. Better than
it's mad.
Without you know, disparaging the younger generation. I think a lot of the young lads who are doing this, and this is something from a non-wrestler, so this is just an opinion. This is not, you know, anything other than an opinion. I don't think a lot of these young lads realize the psychology that's involved with wrestling. They just see spot after spot, and I think it leads into what you were saying with the flippy shit. Basically, it's just let's do these spots because they don't know the psychology of why you're doing this. Getting to that spot, the reason for doing it more specifically. Are you going to do this because it'll lead to the finish, or are you going to do this because it'll lead to a big like change in the structure of the match or the position in the match? And I just think in terms of the way that these guys work, believe me, I am not in any way taking away the ability and the talent, which is exactly what you said. But I don't think they know how to do psychology anymore. I think it's very lost. There's not a lot of wrestlers in a younger, more modern generation who know how to do the ring psychology as well as perhaps the generations in the past.
I think in the modern product, there's a lot of just turning a bit of a spot fest.
Exactly.
It's
that's
like
what I was trying to
like
get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just mashing the buttons.
Yeah.
You know?
Like this.
Like
yeah.
Finish after finish after finish.
That's it. Yeah.
And we see it with a lot of the younger guys who come into our academy.
Do you? Right.
They just want to hit lots of super kicks and RKOs, and they'll do a training match and they'll hit like 3 finishes in a row, and then they'll pin them and they'll kick out.
Yeah.
Just look at each other. What is going on?
Can I ask you then, as workers, because that's a great lead in as well, because it wasn't even something I was going to talk about. You've just given us a point there. In terms of finishes, right? We all grew up with a generation of where a finish was protected. Look at the Razor's Edge, for example. Razor Ramon never kicked out of. You know, the outside.
And then he gave that to his lad yesterday. His 15-year-old son.
Yeah, slight segue, but you mentioned Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
Jim had a training match with my youngest son.
Oh, right.
Last night.
Lost.
Beautiful match. Really good match. Jim gets him up for the Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
And my son will reverses it.
Like a sunset flip sort of thing.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's good. Like,
do you know the thing is, right there? I have no problem in terms of, you know, the way like a reversal of a finish. That's the way it should be done. But you don't kick out of a finish.
Oh, no.
I mean, look at the Bucks, right? The Young Bucks they've turned the sweet chin music into a transitional move. They've turned they call it what, the Meltzer driver or whatever the hell it's called, the Tombstone Spike Pile driver or whatever the hell it is, into a transitional move. That used to be a finish. That was the Spike Pile driver was the
DDT. Like,
well, that's
DDT
it.
was
Jake's finish. Yeah.
And now
It's a transitional move. Well, the Spike Pile driver was the Brainbusters finish, wasn't it? It was Arn and Tully, and that's the thing to turn that into a transitional move is so frustrating.
But then you had like FTR sort of brought back the Spike Pile drive, and they used it as a finish. But like, I think the Young Bucks get like a lot of heat for this. Like, I'm not a big fan of spot fest wrestling at all, and I agree with everything you're saying. Like, with the Young Bucks, we've watched movies where they've done, you know, a rope bounce Canadian Destroyer to the apron, and it's not the finish.
Yeah. That's
but
my
at the same
least favourite
time,
move in wrestling, by the way.
I used to love it. Like when Pete Williams was doing it.
When he actually created it.
It was a killer. And like you were waiting to see it. And now like ISA transition. But I've never watched the Young Bucks match and not thought that was a great match.
Yeah.
And I think they get loads of heat for it. At the same time, you can go watch Roman's Reigns match, who gets like praise for his psychology, especially in the run. And he's still hitting 3 spears every match. He's still doing 5 Superman punches. But you know,
well, they're devaluing every finish.
You're doing that. Like,
I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I like the Young Bucks, and I'm not taking away. They're very, very talented. I remember them when they were Generation Me back in TNA, way back when.
Wrestling Motor City Machine Guns.
That's it. Yeah. And Motor City Machine Guns, another team, still absolutely doing it at a massively high level. You know what I mean? But I mean, you look at like, as you say, Roman. Every finish. We're in this weird generation now where every finish is devalued. When Cody won the title at Mania 40, now I know why they did it. The psychology was to make Roman go down strong. So he hit him with 3 crossroads to finish the match. Earlier in the match, Roman had hit that move. And when Cody kicked out, he actually went, can't pin anybody with that move. He actually said that in the ring.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're devaluing the move just by saying that. But I get he was working heel. I understand that. But at the same time, I just think we're in a generation where, as you say, spot fest. And I just can't get into it.
You can't come back from that, though.
No.
If you've now worked, you've set that level.
Yeah.
Right, it needs 3.
You've devalued every move.
Yeah, crossroads before you can pin for the win. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't go back and just hitting 1.
Well, that's it. When you hit a guy with 1, you're like, well, he's a weakling now.
Exactly.
He couldn't do it.
You then devaluing your opponent.
And that's the thing. And I think that's a really bad thing because at the end of the day, these moves are supposed to be devastating. They're supposed to be absolute. I mean, Christ almighty, Hulk Hogan won how many titles with a leg drop? You know what I mean? To the point that he was like 4 inches shorter because of all the surgeries he had due to that bloody leg drop. But I mean, that's my point. People believed when Hulk Hogan hit that big boot and then that leg drop, nobody was getting up. You know,
If you hit those legit,
you'd kill somebody.
like
Yeah, you would. You'd be unconscious from the kick in the face alone. I mean, in kickboxing, that's called a teep. You know, and you usually do it
to the face.
exactly a teep kick to the face. You're not getting up from that. I mean,
The leg drop's just for show.
well, Lyoto Machida in the UFC knocked out Randy Couture with a front kick. You know what I mean? And that's the irony in him. That was barefoot. You know, Hulk Hogan used to have a fucking boot on. You know what I mean? So that's the point. But no, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? I understand why they do it now because it's almost like they've got to push the bar, raise the bar and push the what's the word? Push the envelope? No, whatever the hell it is. Raise the bar anyway. Because fans are harder to entertain, I think. And I think as workers, you've probably seen that.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's harder to entertain. I think it's that they have expectations set now, as you say.
Yeah.
Like if dropping a guy on his head doesn't knock a guy out, then you can't show that a guy's been knocked out by being dropped on his head.
That's fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why my finisher is completely protected and nobody has ever successfully kicked out of it.
That's not true.
It is true.
I've kicked out of it.
What?
When we had a singles match, you pinned me by mistake.
Oh,
And I had to kick out.
I'll let you up. That doesn't count.
So kicked out. How about that spine buster you were, Steve?
Yeah, you kicked out my spine. Actually,
Yeah, you weren't supposed to cover me.
I know that
Killing
was
the
that was
business.
my
You
fault.
two?
Exposing the
finishes?
fit. But no, I mean,
Controversially, I don't really care about protecting my finish or our finishes. Unless
I don't care about protecting your finish.
No. I think unless you're a known wrestler and
Yeah.
you're on TV and there is some sort of like
Cachet in the move.
yeah, there is some meaning to your finish and that has value to you.
absolutely.
Then yeah, by all means, it needs to be protected. For us, I go and wrestle for FTW, and then I go wrestle for MEW and MPW. It's different people I'm performing for. They don't know me. Unlikely to know me. They're unlikely
It's fair
to know
enough.
moveset.
No, that's
I
fair
tend
enough.
to use the spine buster like an Arn Anderson
Awesome.
spine buster. It's
Awesome.
my finisher.
It's a great
Someone
finish.
kicks out of it on FTW, and I go to MPW. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
They're not
No,
gonna go, oh, he can't use that finisher anymore because so and so kicked out. of it.
no, I get that. I get that. But
So now you interchange between that and the Michinoku driver.
awesome finish as well. Yeah.
Sometimes I use that as a signature. Sometimes I use it as a finisher.
Michinoku Drive is a great finish. I love that finish. It's such a great finish. But then again, I've always liked that. That's the kind of thing I love. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've never said this before, but on here, impactful moves, like big impactful moves where you go, Jesus Christ, you know. And then the guy later on, you see him, he's fine. You're like, yep, that's what you want. You know what I mean? That's what you want. And I love that because it just you believe it. You know what I mean? You believe it. One thing I will say just before we move on is we were talking about like favorite matches and things before. We were talking about like favorite wrestlers. Who do you have a favorite wrestler? And I mean that could be at amateur level or not amateur level, indie level, or the professional levels, or what would you think? I don't know what that was. I've heard it a few times.
Time to clock off.
Yeah.
We're allowed to swear now.
Shift
Yeah,
over.
you could swear now. That's your alarm going off. Yeah. But no, I mean, do you just have like a favorite wrestler or somebody favorite that you've worked that you like to work a lot?
Like on the local.
Whatever you want, or at WWE, AEW level, TNA level, whatever.
I mean, obviously, I love working with these guys, but we because we came up through the ranks together. So
Yeah.
I love that.
We know how each other work. and we always have fun
Mhm.
Yeah.
working together.
The Den and Bloods feud was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Do you know what I like? This is the thing I've noticed having the other guys on. I had like obviously Anarchy Inc. and I've had Reform on as well. I love, and this is where you can indulge me. I know you weren't there and you weren't there, but you can indulge me. When I was in the locker room, obviously everybody was getting ready and I was trying to get me cue cards ready for me announcing. I was going around bothering them. I was like, can you tell me what you want to say? I didn't know anybody. I was just like, they're all big people and I'm like this tiny little bloke. And I was just like, can you? And they were all like so nice. You, especially, I think I talked to you most of all, to be fair. And it was one of those things we were going around and I was just like, and I was expecting, you know, everybody just go in there and be in the zone, kind of nobody talking to anybody. And I went in and you had Ryan taping his dick to his leg and people getting changed and this, that and the other. And I think you were working out at the back with something Joseph was working
Getting
out.
his pump on.
And that was it, yeah. And it was so weird. And I walked in and I was like, obviously I came out of the room. I was like, that's fucking weird. That wasn't what I was expecting at all. And you were all so nice. And then I remember my missus rang me before the show got started because she was like, "Oh, can I quickly ring you?" She messaged me, and I was like, "Yeah." She rang me. She was like, "How are they?" I was like, "Oh, really lovely." And she was just, "Oh, that's good."
I think it's like like I found that like everyone we've ever met or worked with has been like friendly,
Yeah.
encouraging. I don't think anybody's ever tried to like
No.
That
be
is the thing
critical or
about the
bury you.
local.
Like it's
Until I became a wrestler,
Mhm.
I knew nothing about the local scene.
Yeah.
But it is just like this little community.
That's
and
exactly the best way. Yeah.
everybody is awesome.
Yeah.
Like everybody gets on. I mean, yeah, there's drama from time to time, but for the most part,
Yeah.
everybody is amazing.
I was really surprised at that, to be fair, how close everybody is. And I mean, do you know the thing? I think that this is the thing, before we move on, the thing that actually stood out for me, was obviously I was totally new to the thing. Matty Mayhem had messaged Paul and said, "Oh, you're a ring announcer as a kid once a day." Never done it in my life. So I was sitting there. I was like hours before any of the wrestlers turned up because I was like that bloody nervous. I just got there. I was like 3:00. You know, the show didn't start like 7 or something. You know, I was there for hours getting prepped and, you know, had a couple of beers. I'm not gonna lie.
Everyone didn't put in the ring up.
I know I was there while they were doing that, but I kind
How
of
did
just
you get
stood to
out
the
of
side. I think they looked at me and thought he hasn't got a fucking clue what he's doing. You know what I mean? But I was quite surprised. Everybody that turned up, I just went over and said hello, yourself included, Thomas. You know what I mean? And there was a guy, Cavero. He was a really nice kid. And I had gone over and introduced myself, and these are big dudes. And like, is it Asylum? He was a really nice fella as well. Mick, he's called, isn't he? And I was talking to these people, and I got talking to Bruce, and it was just so weird. It was like I'd known all of you for a while, and then it was literally when I went home, Joseph Biggs gave me a lift home. You know what I mean? That was the thing, and it was so weird. And I'm not used to that. You know what I mean? In that type of environment, I'm not one. Despite being, you know, quite chatty and whatnot, I don't tend to open up to people particularly easily. And it was so weird. But being in that locker room was such a fucking eye opener. Honestly, you've got no idea. What, in there all half naked?
It's definitely an 18+ environment.
Oh God, I
Some of the stuff. In fact, that leads on to an interesting story.
Oh, you.
Was this the story about
Got it.
Ska?
You guys,
Yeah.
a
Don't
story-
mention names, but
yeah, please.
you may as well tell the story.
names.
It's pretty
So,
good.
So Harry once missed his cue to go out to the ring,
Right.
and I will
Just
let
blowing
Harry
your hair,
describe
bud.
how that happened.
To be fair, I feel like I've got more blame in this story. There was another very charming and eloquent wrestler
Right.
telling
He is
us
an
a
amazing guy.
very entertaining story about
Will you tell me the name off camera? Yes.
I do. About most of the story was just about poop and jizz, if I remember right.
Lovely.
So
Standard locker room.
Indeed,
I was just enwrapped.
They were there.
Because why wouldn't you be? Yeah.
Swapping notes.
Consistencies and things, you know what I mean?
And this woman comes running in.
Off white.
You've missed your cue. You've missed your cue.
They go running out of the locker room, and we were. So I think we'd already been on, and we were just. And then a couple of minutes later, they come both.
Sheepish.
Just got the information.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
In my defence, I wasn't allowed to use my own music.
Yeah.
I was nowhere near the ring, so I couldn't hear anything. And he was very entertaining.
That's such a conversation, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? What a chat.
Your match is on. Hang on, I'm chatting.
That's fantastic. I love it. I mean, do you know, It's funny because the one thing I will never ever do at a show again was the thing I've only done once. Was get introduced. Because walking out to that ring was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
That's my least favorite part of
It's
a
awful.
match is the entrance.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for the match to start. Like some
The
people
waiting
love
for
it.
The entrance is even worse. Like
Yeah.
just standing at those.
Well, I was behind the door in this club in Cramlington waiting to go out, and I had asked for a particular piece of music and it didn't get played. I think they couldn't find it as it was, so it was fine. But regardless, I walked out to AC/DC, which was brilliant, band I love, and I heard Paul introduce me, and I was like, right, shit, and I'm shirt and tie and waistcoat, you know, trying to look half decent, look like a member of Reform Wrestling, as it turned out. And then I walked out, and I was like, oh shit, and everybody in the room was going and looking at me, and I am not good at being the center of attention, and I just kind of went. Watch the video if you get a chance. Go on YouTube and have a look on. Well, I walked out
and nobody's looking.
Oh, man, honestly, I wish they weren't. I'd rather they weren't. It was awful.
That has happened.
Has it really?
Yeah. Come out through the curtain. Come on! And everybody's like,
Who the fuck's this guy again? Well, I'd rather have that because I walked out and I had to walk. And bearing in mind as well, I couldn't work out my path, so I was kind of like, because it was all through the seats and everything, and I kind of walked round and I didn't get lost, thank God. But I walked around and literally, this is my whole reaction. I went. and then I was like, all right, to nobody, because there was nobody really I clocked eyes with, because I wouldn't look at anybody. And then I got in the ring, and I'd practiced getting in the ring, because I'd never gotten into a wrestling ring before. And I got into the ring, and I didn't fall on my face, so that was good. And then I got in the ring and went, Josephine, give him a chair. And his music hadn't even started. It was just like, shit. Yeah. And then Paul clocked us. He went, he's a heel. I went, I fucking know. And then literally after that, it was fine. It got better progressively from there. But yeah, what a fucking nightmare. It was like, honestly. And I remember, like I say, when I opened the door and looked out, there wasn't a huge amount. There was, probably 40, 50 people there, maybe.
Yeah, it
wasn't a big crowd. And it was all right, wasn't it? And I mean, I opened the door, saw them, and there could have been a million people there, and I just went, oh no. Standing with a microphone in my hand going, don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
They're expensive.
Oh, well,
I really don't like it when you drop them.
One of them.
They're very, very. Not do mic drop.
One of them got broken. It did get broken. Cavero took it off me to cut a promo on Mick, on Magic Mick, and he had cut a promo on him, and he was in the camera and saying he wanted the hardcore title off Iceman, I believe it is. Right. And he was like, I want the match and this, that, and the other. And there's footage all online. It's great. And he throws the mic on the floor and it's split into two pieces. And I just went, oh, God.
That's expensive.
It went back together, but it didn't work.
Yeah, funny enough.
So they had another one, thank God. But I was like I'm thinking, well, I've got to announce this. What am I going to do? Shout. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was. It just went on the floor. I mean, Paul was fine with it. I think they sorted it out eventually. But yeah, it was good. Right, obviously I'm very conscious of the time. We'll just do a couple of little bit more bits and pieces if that's all right with you lads, and then we'll wrap it up. Upcoming shows, what you've got upcoming?
Next week we've got FTW.
Oh yes.
Halloween Havoc.
Halloween Havoc, 25th, Jubilee Club.
Indeed.
Hadaway?
Oh yeah.
No,
Halloween Hadaway. Yeah. Oh, you work in that show, eh?
Halloween Havoc is something else.
Is that the show that you were telling me before we went camera? Yeah. The Halloween Hadaway, the purple poster.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I actually mentioned that on the radio yesterday, so there you go. He's got a little bit of free publicity there. So
I'm wrestling Rig.
Right.
Heavyweight title.
Nice.
And
I'm wrestling Nico Narciso, who is trying to get his hands on my Alpha Prime title.
Awesome.
There's not currently anyone after my title.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was going to ask you, if you're not too precious about that, can I have it? Because it's amazing. I absolutely want it, honestly. It's the best thing I've ever seen. When they walked in and you put that down, I was like, that is fantastic. Because it was the messages as well. Because when you were setting all this up, I was like, they're fucking awful. You know what I mean? It was honestly, but no, I was going to ask you if you're not too precious about that, can I have it? Because I'll add that to the collection. I'm all right with it. It's wonderful. I'm gonna show my little girl. She'll be over the moon with that. She really will. She'll be over the moon. There you go. But no. So what's your next show coming up?
I've not got anything.
Nothing planned. No.
So promoters, if you're out there.
Well, actually, while I've got you on camera, and you really can't say anything. In the new year, me and a friend of mine are hoping to put on a show. I want to run my own show. It's something I've always wanted to do. Obviously, it will be paid. So don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to work for free. I would never do that to you. But I'm obviously going to tap the other lads up. I haven't even spoken to them about it yet. I spoke to Ryan Root briefly, but I tell a lie, at the last Rapid Action show I had mentioned. And I believe Ryan here said he knew someone who could get me a ring, so that might be a plan. But no, the plan is I want to run my... Well, it does come in handy, yeah. I could do like WCW...
Unless you do a Rise, no ring.
They're playing.
I saw that, yeah. I'll do WCW Backstage Brawl. You remember that game where you didn't ever make it to the ring? It was just like all in the fucking car park.
Match.
Oh god, boiler match. There you go.
Ring of Steel with all the cars.
Oh,
Like
God.
the Guerrero's one.
I don't remember that one.
I do.
It was
It's
just
like
a
a
bunch
parking
of
lot brawl
cars,
sort
like,
of thing,
parked
yeah.
With like the traffic lights, the headlights pointed.
Oh, in
in the
WCW, I do remember that. Yeah, because it was horrendous because you couldn't see anything because the only lights they had was from fucking car headlights, which shone at like shin level. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you lit up the guy's legs, but what the fuck is he doing above the waist? You know?
That could be more expensive than getting a ring.
Yeah.
I don't fancy setting up 100 cars. I mean, there's 4 through there, but no. I don't think you'd be overly happy.
Yeah,
But no, if you would all be willing, then obviously time permitting and whatnot, I am planning whether it happens. It will be part of this. I'm gonna have a title made as well. Well, I will defend that as well. You know. Do you know what? If you turn up for this show and I've got that fucking belt up for you, can you imagine? You'd do it, right?
I'll defend that.
Yeah, there we go. So there we go. I'll keep that safe then. But no, I am planning on having a belt made, and it'll all be just a fucking laugh. You know what I mean? It's not going to be. It might be for charity if we make any money, which is unlikely, but you never know. And it was just one of those things. I've always wanted to do it. It's a lifelong ambition. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan like yourselves. I'm only now getting into doing something I wanted to do. I've wanted to do this for years. But yes, while I've got you all captive, I'm going to tie you in now if you'll do it. I don't know when. Obviously, I have a new baby on the way, as I've mentioned a couple of times. So,
have you checked your messages?
It's on this. This is why I've got the iPad, because I'm obviously recording on my phone. So I told her to just messages on this. So she hasn't. Can you imagine if I'm sitting here talking wrestling and she's dropping the kid?
I'll be 10 minutes. They're nearly done.
Just a few more questions. Don't worry.
But no. Was thinking every time you touch this, you just like.
Imagine. No, I forgot to turn the auto lock off, and every now and again the screen goes black, and it's got me notes on to keep the show running, and I'm desperately unprofessional because I didn't fix that bit. But no, in terms of the show, thank you for coming on, lads. Is there anything else you just want to add before we go? I don't know, but it'll be involving you, so I do need to know that.
That's not what you were asking. When do you want this back?
Double clock.
Well, no, I'm actually, the next show I am doing for definite is going to be Thomas and his family. And I'm thinking I record usually every 2 weeks, so it'll not be next Sunday, it will be the Sunday after. That's negotiable in regards to, as I say, my current family situation, but obviously I'll let you know. But if you still want to do it, I am absolutely on board with that.
Hello. Let's wait until the baby's born and see how you're feeling.
Tired, I'll be the term I'm looking for. No, I will be doing it. I guarantee it, mate. Honestly, when you told me about the idea, it's the best idea. It's such a great idea because I'd love to have, just generations of wrestlers on. That's wonderful. It's so unusual in the wrestling industry to have that. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a few very famous families. But no, absolutely doing that. So keep posted for that. Like, subscribe on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. It's at WrestleReport19. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Plenty of people are watching. Nobody's liking and subscribing. Why not? We're not that bad, surely. Please like and subscribe. One last thing before we go, I just want to give a quick last-minute shout-out to our sponsors once again. We have got Valves and Vibes, Motors and Campers. As I said, custom Land Rover Defenders with folding tent roofs. New business. Very, very exciting new business. Check them out on Facebook. And also, insane competitions, online giveaways, plenty of prizes, pay to play. You never know, might win something good. Give them a check. But no, thank you once again, lads. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for I hope I haven't bored you too much for me indulging me little hobby. But once again, this has been the Wrestling Report. I'm Stephen Fairbairn. Thank you very much.